go. I'm so glad I clicked recording and not streaming. In all honesty, we probably could have done both.
It doesn't matter. We're here.
Correct, we are here.
So I think we kind of just chill for a moment. It's like work up the conversation. Done with all the heavy shit.
Ugh. I hate having a leather DX Racer instead of my cloth one.
Really?
Yeah, dude. The leather one just gets sticky and hot and gross. I just didn't want to transport a second chair.
Fabric.
Yeah, but then I can slap your moist ass.
You could still slap my moist ass in the cloth one. It just doesn't get as hot and gross in the fabric one.
What do you mean gross, dude? It's love juices.
All right, I want to.
Comfy was leaning into the ridiculousness. That is
absolutely. That was. I'm leaning into the uncomfy.
Oh, you're leaning into the hentai. It's fine.
Don't lean into the hentai.
Social clip.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Vetoed. Fucking vetoed that
It's
one.
too
there,
perfect. No, that's
It's
like
not in the actual recording though, so they can't stop.
Actually,
us.
It is.
Shit.
Because even if you didn't record that, I'm recording all of my desktop audio, so I'd still have it.
No, I'm recording. I'm good.
I'm just saying. I'm
doing my part.
This is perfect behind the scenes content for the Patreon.
Thanks, I hate it.
Because it's also on video.
But I also love it. I'm just glad we're producing real content for people that are paying for it.
I mean, if they are paying for it.
Yeah.
They have to start paying for it first.
Yeah, but...
Tim, did you have an existential crisis at that moment?
No, I looked at my webcam preview.
Oh, you're doing fine. Don't touch it. It looks good over here. We're fine. It's glitching, but it looks fine over here. Don't worry about it.
Like the video looks good. It was just I watched it just have a stroke, and I was like, I need to have enough money to just buy a mirrorless, and I wouldn't even buy a camera.
You're telling me?
At least your webcam isn't dying.
No, but it's dead inside, much like me.
Fuck, I guess you're right.
For whoever watches this recording, this is what I have to deal with.
Yo, you have to deal with us? Are you serious?
To be fair, y'all miss a lot of the other stuff that
I don't
this
RDM.
motherfucker does.
I never RDM. Check the VOD. I have a good memory.
I didn't say that. I said at that point I was not RDMing.
I have a hyper good memory. Check the VOD. That's the quote.
I told you exactly where I was, where I threw the spear from, and about how long it was until it took somebody to say, we're going just on democracy. You have to admit, if he hadn't said we're playing just democracy, no, hold.
Paul,
if
I
he
watched my VOD.
Hold on. If he did not say, we're just playing on democracy, a quarter second later, it would have been the perfect kill because nobody would have fucking known.
I think
you have to at least admit that.
Angrier. No. That's totally fair. if the just democracy thing had not been the discussion, I would not have been mad at that kill. It was a completely legitimate.
Do you know how bad I felt right after that? Like, I was about to be like, Comfy, can you res Tim?
No, what you could have done
because
is gone,
then
hey, by the way. You could have been like, hey, I did this. I did the exact thing that we normally do during Harpoons, and I just kind of like murdered Tim, and then we had the democracy agreement, and I wouldn't have been mad. I would have actually been like, you know what? I would not have outed you as a traitor. I would have just laughed. But it was the fact that no one noticed my body.
It was so...
Look
That's
what
why I said
started.
it was so perfect. Because, like... I know, so on all honesty, if I outed you, it probably would have given me away 100%.
No.
Because I was the only one standing near your body.
To be fair, it was funny because we voted out every single innocent person before the traitors.
It's also true.
No,
and
but
then
the
Paul
thing
started
was,
killing people, so.
Paul, but you could have gone, by the way, I saw harpoons, Tim was the closest, and I know how we play harpoons, I just left-clicked him. Everyone would have believed that is a legitimate thing. We all do it during harpoons.
I love you. I'm sorry. I felt really bad. I just didn't know what to say. I don't think that fast on my feet sometimes, especially when I'm in the middle of, oh shit, I just killed Tim. We're only playing democracy. I just killed Tim. I feel really bad now. What do I do? I'm gonna go stand here and act like nothing's wrong.
I'm trying to find the specific one that I want to tell Tim about, because we added some dumb events to the random.
Yeah.
We added random role swapping.
Okay.
We also added model swapping, but it's not working. We're trying to figure
it's not
that
working
out.
yet.
That'll be interesting.
We're messing with that one. It's a little weird.
Hey, for the Patreon viewers at home, you see this? This is Advanced GG. You should use code COMFAMOUS for 10% off.
I got my King's Coast.
Also use someone's
we don't have a
affiliate
code.
link.
We don't have a code. We don't have a code. It's fine.
Why don't we have a code?
Why don't
Probably because we haven't had that. We've never had that discussion. Actually,
I don't.
We
Yeah,
should
like
code.
we
should try to have that discussion just for.
I'll have that discussion with Kevin later at some point.
I think that's one of those things. Is like, because we run the ads on the podcast anyways, we might as well have an affiliate link, right? Like, that's how everyone else has one.
I don't even need the money from it. I just want to like have a link for people to get that code.
Yeah, like
I don't pass the savings on to the people like I do with my Advanced GG energy available at Advanced.
We need to talk to Sut. I need you guys to talk to Sut to get to Sut talk to me so that Sut can talk to the boys.
I can make that call.
Please do. Anyway,
I'll do that after podcast episode.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. What? Comfy just has a look.
I'm just sitting here thinking. Oh, by the way, also Tim, we added communism.
Yeah. Everybody gets a thing when somebody.
If you
buys
buy
a
one
thing,
everybody gets it.
Oh
so long story short,
so
detective buying a Smith and Wesson, or buying a red matter bomb, everybody gets a red matter bomb.
It's just pure. It causes pure chaos. We also
Absolute
added.
chaos.
That's how to make harpoons or non-harpoon rounds a harpoon round in 0.01 seconds.
We also added social distancing. It's, if
We won't spoil that one for you.
Okay.
pretty obvious, but yeah, we
The M4 one, the M4 trip mine.
Oh yeah, come on and
C4.
slam.
Come on and slam. Everybody gets
Dude.
M4 slams.
Turning them into trip mines is actually hilarious.
It's the funniest
best
thing.
Part.
Okay.
I've made a lot of those.
Okay. Hype self up. Hype self.
Hit him with a clap and...
Oh,
We already clapped
that
though. We don't need to clap again.
Clap sync in 3, 2.
We...
Clap sync!
No, told your life was gonna be
Paul,
this way.
We did not do a clap sync yet.
You're right, we didn't.
That's why I was like...
8 minutes and 53 seconds in.
You know what? Clap sync. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Clap. Guys, welcome to Studio Blank, the anime and manga podcast where you can find all your news, reviews, and views on all things anime and weeb every single week. Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 8. I'm your host, Paul, along with my co-hosts, Nate.
Hello.
Tim.
Hello.
This week we're gonna try something a little out for you guys. We're gonna start doing our discussions in the beginning. We're gonna do a quick news flash, just for all those things, then do our topic, and then we'll do seasonal stuff at the end. And secondarily, if you want to check it out, in the description, we will have timestamps for you on our discussion switches, so you can catch up and catch exactly what you want every single week. Let's start off with...
go back and update all the old episodes with that, so if you want to skip to certain sections, you are more than welcome to. And relive some of those absolutely spicy moments.
Spicy. On the note of spicy moments, Japan is doing some cool things. The Agency of Cultural Affairs is revealing animated works for the Animation Talent Training, Research, and Study Project of 2020 initiative. Tim, I think you're the one who brought this to our attention. Can you hit me with the spicy details, because this just sounds really cool and I'm interested.
Okay, so every year since 2010, this is a separate initiative. I can't read. Because the Agency of Cultural Affairs does a young animator training project, and they've done that every year since 2010. So this is a whole new thing where they're taking established studios and letting them create like short anime episodes so that the animators that are already on the job can get even more experience, and then even larger studios will go in and they'll critique those episodes and try and give as much positive feedback and criticism as possible to improve these animators.
Yeah.
So we got some spicy ones coming up.
What is it? I need to hear.
So we have 4 studios. We have Imagica, Usagi-O, Orange, and Tsumugi Akita Anime are each producing their own animation project. Imagica is titled Kochira Nishi Tokyoshi Deliver Kaisatsu. So it's the deliver police. And Takashi Sano, the director of Tower of God, is directing this piece.
Ooh.
Well, that's fun.
So the project is targeting at working with the key animators and the in-between animators. That's really what they're focusing on. Usagi-O's project is titled Hachimitsu Suicide Machine, with Yuji Yumoto, who was the director of Ganbare Lulu Lolo, Tiny Twin Bears, and Kaiju Step Wanda Bada. I genuinely can't read today. Directing, and that's just a wide variety of animators. Key, in between, full group. Orange's project is titled Want to Go Home, Samete Chikyu no Juryokyuka de, with Akihiko Orikasa, the CG chief director for Ghost in the Shell Arise, directing it. And it's aimed at working with the animation directors, the key animators,
interesting,
the in-between touch-up, the in-between checkers, and the coloring checkers, so that things actually look the way they're supposed to.
Interesting.
And Tsumugi Akita Anime's Labs project is called Ryugeki no Kyokotsu, with Tsukasa Sakurai, the animation director for the Monogatari series' second season, directing.
Monogatari.
Which
Love Monogatari.
I'm
Such a
very
fun
excited
series.
about.
Really interested to see these. I
can't wait to check
where
these
are
out.
they airing these? Are they going to air ever, or are they?
I don't know if they're going to be available outside of Japan, but I will do my digging to find them out.
Of course.
But
when those release, we'll get them to you, of course, if we can find them.
Yes, and so back to the Young Animator project, that was what brought about works like Little Witch Academia,
Gotcha.
Death Billiards, which is what inspired Death Parade,
Mhm.
and on
Fun
Gaku
show.
Shoujo. So
Interesting.
I'm a big fan of Little Witch Academia.
I think this is going to be like a really cool thing to see when it expands. This got announced on July 15th, but they just confirmed the 4 studios this week. Actually, today at 5 a.m. Eastern time.
It's a quick one. Okay.
So
another fun thing for this month, Phantasy Star Online 2 has expanded its release to 33 more countries, including Europe, India, and Oceania. So if you're looking to catch up on some absolute weebery, including the fact that they're coming out with a new expansion that they're talking about, which is not being, the characters are being ported, but not save data. It'll be a whole new game. So check that out if you're looking for a new fun JRPG kind of experience. Big news. AT&T is asking for $1 billion to sell Crunchyroll to.
Yeah,
that's huge. Now, granted, like it was what 30 million ish when they acquired Crunchyroll total.
No. So Crunchy got its first $4 million in startup funding back in 2006 and 7, and they started licensing titles in 2008. AT&T acquired Crunchy in 2013.
Okay. For how much?
Or it doesn't say.
Okay.
I should say the Chernin Group acquired Crunchy in 2013, in December of 2013. AT&T formed a joint venture with them in 2014.
Okay.
And then that joint venture invested another 23 million in Crunchyroll in 2015. And then AT&T announced that it had acquired all of the joint venture's other media. So they
BRB.
They absorbed the whole thing.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then last year, right around this time actually, Crunchyroll and Viz Media Europe closed a deal where Crunchy became the majority owner of VME. And so that was announced in September and closed in December. And then they announced in April that their name is no longer VME SAS, it's now Crunchyroll SAS. So it's very apparent that if a company is buying Crunchy, they're not just buying the website and its anime distribution, it's also the entire manga distribution for all of Europe for Viz's content, which is Shonen Jump.
Right. No, that makes the $1 billion sign a little bit more palatable.
I mean, to be fair, Crunchy is the #1 distributor of anime in Western media right now. Correct.
So if they're valuing, because they went to Sony with it for a $1.5 billion. They evaluated every single subscriber on that platform as worth $500. I don't know about you, but that makes me feel kind of good about paying for my fucking Crunchyroll.
I can tell you right now, I'm not worth $500.
But at least someone thinks I am.
I'm excited. That's an interesting thing. I really hope somebody. I don't know if I want somebody to take them up on that deal, but I do know that I wanted to check, and see kind of who's in the market. But we'll see. Other big news.
You know what?
Go ahead.
I'm interested to see who buys Crunchyroll. I hope they add a dark mode to the website.
Please.
Sweet Jesus Christ, please.
Whoever, if anybody ever listens to this later down the line and you've acquired Crunchyroll, please give me a dark mode. If I don't have it already, I will literally send you money.
I will send you $5, and that's all it takes for a palette swap. Please, just hit the gray button.
My Crunchyroll Premium, even if it's if you get Premium, then you get dark mode. I'll take that.
Yeah.
If you limit that dark mode to anyway.
Well, hey, wow.
Enough about that.
I just wanted to bring up that point because I modded my Crunchyroll this week to be dark mode. So much nicer.
Other news for Crunchyroll, Noblesse's trailer is out, and it's
my God.
hot.
It's so pretty.
We got trailer, we got cast, we got staff, and the October premiere, along with other October premiere, Haikyuu to the Top is returning October 2nd with new opening and new ending. So we got all of our opening and ending for Haikyuu. We got our new trailer.
Can we pause for a second back on Noblesse? Just
he just really wants to talk about Haikyuu, and that was his segue.
Yeah,
Can we, for 2 seconds, talk about the key art?
Yes.
Dude.
That'll be on the webpage for it. It looks so fucking good.
If you're gonna mention key art for that, I need to mention the fact that animation for Haikyuu looks like it's better than it's ever been. Because both of those openings were whoo, baby. It looks so smooth, so clean. Contrast looks great. It looks like a better version of Haikyuu that we've already gotten. And I'm really excited to see where that goes, especially because this season should end just before we get to the final seasonal arc. If they do it the way that they've been doing it, the next season will be the final season because the manga ended. It just looks so good. I'm excited. Noblesse. No, I'm interested to see what happens because we saw Tower of God do incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
Then we saw we're seeing God of Highschool do really well. I think Gibiate fell on its face and face palmed and face planted, belly flopped into the pool.
Hey, by the way, Noblesse is like the main character, Rizel. His voice actor is Mirio Togata. You already have to watch this. Like, it's like just for the fact that like the main character is Lemillion, you kind of just have to.
Yes,
like
100% agree. I'm just excited. I can't wait.
But to your point of Tower of God doing incredibly well, God of Highschool is doing relatively well compared to other shows. There are some people that are not entirely happy with it, mostly the people who have read the webtoon.
I just think it's rushed, but we'll talk
about
that. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later this week, guys. We're going to talk about God of Highschool, Rent a Girlfriend, and ReZero in this week's summer lineup. So we'll get to that.
But I just want to point out the shows that they're pulling over as Crunchyroll originals from webtoon are doing exceptionally well. They're incredibly animated and they're almost universally acclaimed. But Gibiate, which was a Crunchyroll like anime original, was
riding the bus.
Not super well. So what they're pulling from other content seems to be really well adapted.
I'm just not sure that they got a really big budget for it. That's all. I'm not sure if Gibiate had like the budget, it probably would have done better. It was still going to be bleh, because that storyline is at the moment. But anyway, now
moving on.
We finished up our news. Nope.
Tiny little bit of news. If you watch
one last little bit,
HX Heroes, you know the anime about kids who get horny and get superpowers. Sorry, but this week your episode has been delayed, and you are getting episode 7.5 instead.
Yeah, it's just like a little throw in there for those that watch it. I still have not watched it because it's on Funimation, and I am due to cry.
Yeah, I need to sit down and watch it soon because it's
at some point.
It's a show.
One of my housemates has Funimation, so I'm just gonna steal his login. Whoa.
I think you mean we're going to steal his login.
We are gonna steal
USSR Anthem place.
We are seizing the means of animation.
Guys, this week we kind of wanted to take a little note from last week. We talked about anatomy of a fight scene. What? Oh.
I think there's one other huge piece of news for our longtime listeners. Something that we have joked about. And memed about for the last 7 weeks. The Patreon that I keep memeing about is real. And you can find it at patreon.com/studioblank.
Just check out the $500 tier. Please don't ever actually use the $500 tier.
Use the $500 tier.
Don't use the $500 tier.
We did sit down. We spent some time. We made an actual Patreon. There's a bunch of cool stuff on there. We have an incentive to get ourselves an editor if we can get enough patrons. We have a $2, $5, $10, $25, $50, $100, and $500 tier, each with their own unique rewards. And man, if you want Paul to dress up in a skirt, start saving up money. Because
all I'll
want to see
say
them schoolgirl thighs.
Is if you want to see something actually useful, we are putting up the video of each week's recording with us in the Patreon. Go ahead and check out which tier that is. And maybe ask some questions for $10 too. Ask some questions. We got the questions at the end of the episodes if you ask them. So, on that note, we're going to move into this week's discussion. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, last week we talked with Slap. It was anatomy of a fight scene. This week we kind of wanted to talk something very similar, in all honesty, to what makes shows really good, which is what makes a good supporting cast. You know, we have all of these shows in past memory, you know, where they're just great and they have these great fight scenes, but that's about all they have because the main character leaves and then nobody cares and it's like, oh. So this week we kind of wanted to talk about what makes those things great. Let's kind of start out real quick and make a mention real quick of
the fact that there's 2 Hunter x Hunters on this list.
I was gonna put a comment on the on the doc that just said so good it's on there twice.
I put Hunter x Hunter down, and then you put HXH down. I love it.
Wow, that made me happy.
That just made me laugh pretty hard. We did do planning. We're not that stupid.
Yeah, we usually put together some semblance of talking points. And when I say semblance,
Paul,
I mean
I'm
like
sorry.
it's like
Would you
it's
like
just
to continue?
There. Sorry about that. We were too busy laughing at each other.
Chat,
we
if
were
you want to
losing
see my face when these guys do ridiculous things, and I can't help but sit here and look incredulous. $10. $10 on the Patreon. Anyway, I'm going to stop plugging the Patreon.
It's actually $5 on the Patreon. I was wrong.
Oh, $5.
$5 for the video tier, yes.
It's a
for
sub for the month.
you get to hang in voice chat while we record so that you can hear the memes as they go on.
You
Yes.
can also just hear us do Ano, because that's all we're doing. Ano.
We definitely
We're all doing the
haven't
finger
been
tapping.
Doing
We
the
haven't.
finger tapping.
Well,
for the
anyway,
past
okay. Let's
3
get back to a good
minutes.
cast. Let's get a good cast. Good cast. What makes a good supporting cast? So first of all, I really want to talk about what makes and what our qualifications are for a good supporting cast here, right? Because when we were kind of discussing this and setting it up, we were like, well, the problem is you can have a good supporting cast who doesn't make you want to watch the show without the main cast. You know, like for example, we're talking about Fairy Tail, Log Horizon, Akamega Kill. We're going to argue about Dr. Stone, Shield Hero, Slime's, my reincarnation as a slime, and stuff like ReZero, where you have this main character who drives everything along, and the side casts are good characters, but like the show doesn't have a supporting cast that can carry the show. As opposed to shows like we've seen, like Sword Art Online, Tower of God, Food Wars, Fullmetal Alchemist, Naruto, classics. All of these classics, and we kind of just want to make that differentiation real quick here, because somebody inevitably, if I said Fairy Tail has a shit supporting cast, is going to come at me screaming about Gray and Gajiel, and I'm like, yes,
they're good characters.
They're great characters.
Yeah, they are great characters.
It's like here. It's the perfect example. It's Dragon Ball versus Dragon Ball Z. In Dragon Ball, you have all these other characters that can do things. In Dragon Ball Z, it's Goku and friends.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great example, actually, of what makes a good supporting cast versus a...
It's the same reason it died when they tried to go from Goku to Gohan.
Yeah, people,
anyway, that's a
people
point.
didn't like Gohan as much as they like Goku, and that's not because Gohan's a bad character. He's a great character, but it's the Goku and Friends show.
So anyway, that right there, I just wanted to preface all of this discussion with that, because we're going to point out we love a lot of these characters in these examples of bad supporting casts.
Paul thought I would be mad that he put a Kamiga Kill on the bad examples list, but I'm allowed to like a show and still acknowledge its faults.
I was not going to be upset if I said that it was bad. I was just going to point out that it was more so because
you said, quote, Comfy's going to be mad at me for this.
Oh, yes. I will agree with that. I heard that, too.
Yes, but like, I didn't think you were going to be mad at me because I was saying Akamega Kill was a bad show. I thought you were going to be mad at me because it was just the fact that the ending was not what it should have been, and thus it is bad because of that reason.
Oh, no, the ending is bad and ruins it. We know this.
Yes,
we discussed this. It hurts my feelings.
Yes. Anyway, let's talk about good supporting cast here real quick. Let's start off with the classics, and we can jump like right into Sword Art Online.
Starting with
classics.
The classics.
Yes.
Starts with SAO.
Because everybody, like, if you don't talk about SAO in some form in an anime podcast, I think you're doing it wrong. Because either you get somebody to love it or you hate it, and it's just a great time. But
I want to point out that the entire first season, first 26 episodes of SAO, is a bad example of a supporting cast because all the characters are there for one episode at a time, and it's the Kirito and Friends show.
Yes,
but
it has the Dragon Ball Z feel.
The reason that I bring Sword Art Online up is for the later seasons, and in particular for this season at the moment, as we're watching through with Alicization, because we have not had Kirito, and if you haven't watched this week's episode, I'm saying spoiler here real quick, Kirito wakes up. Like, so, we all knew it was going to happen, but the point is, like Kirito wakes up, and it's been a season and a half since we've had Kirito. So, in that time, they've had to have the supporting cast pull the show along. And at no point in all on it, and I don't want to say at no point, there were a couple small moments, but for the vast majority of it, you were going on with Alice feeling like this was Alice's show at some level. Like it's in the Sword Art
and Friends.
Exactly. I'm
kind
of, but less so because I think all of the other characters got their moments, which made me very, very happy. And like they were equally in there because they were like there with Alice as you were like going through the show with Kirito and Alice, and so this is why I wanted to talk about the supporting cast, is because that right there is kind of like a huge point of discussion. Which
I also want to see, going back even further from there, I think even from the point of the Gun Gale arc, like Gun Gale, it shifts away from Kirito. It becomes like he's half the story, but Sinon is the other half of it. And so when you're following her storyline and you're getting her character development, it's not feeling empty. It doesn't feel like you're missing something. It just feels like the other part of the story, which is what's really important with having a cast of supporting characters, is you don't want it to be empty when you're following someone else. And my personal favorite arc in SAO so far is Mother's Rosario. And how much does Kirito feature in it? He's there in 2 scenes.
And I think a good time to bring in a counterpoint where it's like, is that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Slime Sakai has this problem where if Rimuru isn't in the scene or in town, these characters don't exist. They're not doing, like, they might be doing something, but they're not doing anything to actually progress their character or
the story.
Or the story.
And that's not to say that they're bad characters, because we all love Slime Sakai. We think it's a hilarious show. We think
I will
it's
die
great.
on the hill that it's a great show. Like,
absolutely.
Run me through. But the problem is if Rimuru's not there, the show doesn't exist.
It's enough to the point where I start forgetting characters' names. I just know them by what they look like. Because it is the Rimuru show.
They don't have a bunch of defining features other than this is the orc that really likes Rimuru, like the other orc that really likes Rimuru.
Well, there's Princess,
the lizard people
there's Princess,
that really likes Rimuru.
You just remember it basically as Princess, Secretary, and General.
Yeah.
And Ninja, and Old Man.
And Ninja, and Old Man.
And the really buff goblin.
The buff goblin leader king.
And
Grandpa Goblin.
And the big nose goblin that rides animals. And it's like, they have names.
Oh, I remember Gobta. I remember Gobta.
Gobka's a meme.
Because he is the meme.
But that's what I'm saying is, the only reason you remember his name is because he's such a meme. It's not because he pulls the story along or like he feels like an important character. He's kind of just there as comedic relief.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to focus in on those characters.
And each of those characters do their job extremely well. And that's why I wanted to make that point earlier, being like, Gobta's the best comic relief in that entire series. Like, he beats the fucking lizard dude soundly. It's the funniest thing.
He learns like shadow jutsus and stuff. Like, and everybody else is like, I don't understand.
Good
and
job,
he's just
you.
like, he's doing like god tier powers, and everyone's like, what is going on?
And that's the thing. Is like, you flip that to you mentioned shadow jutsu. Of course, I have to flip this to Naruto real quick, right? Like, you watch Naruto and you leave Naruto and you're playing the Sasuke Itachi Kabuto show, and like, that's some of my favorite Naruto. Like, that is like peak Naruto when Sasuke's like, I'm gonna go kill my brother. Peace, bitches. And like, you get to this emotional point with Sasuke. Like, then he fights the Kage. Like, he goes to the Kage summit. Whoops all the Kage. Almost, because Raikage's a beast. Like, dude's a fucking monster. But like, otherwise, he like mops the floor with the Kage and kills Danzo. And you're like, holy shit. You have Choji, Shikamaru, and oh my gosh, I just forgot her name. White-haired mind. Ino? It's not Ino.
We were just having this discussion like an hour and a half ago.
Anyway.
I haven't watched Naruto, so you can't. I don't know.
Like, you have them. You have Gaara. You have Shikamaru.
Yeah.
Like you have the entire different villages. You have, you know,
you have
all
these
of these
different characters with different motivations that you can still follow along and
Like-
have interesting stories with.
I'll bring it up. The Rock
doesn't
Lee
revolve
Gaara
around a
fight?
single character.
The Rock Lee Gaara fight is interesting because those characters themselves carry the show at points. Like in Shippuden, you have Rock Lee versus his counterpart from the Sand Village, and you are enthralled. Like, they are taijutsu based only, and you're watching these guys have a fucking full out brawl as respect to each other. Like, in no other form. Naruto doesn't matter. Like, Sasuke doesn't matter. Nobody else matters. Nobody else has any, like, stake in this fight. And you're just watching two ninja beat the shit out of each other, and you're like, holy shit, this is some of my favorite content. You know?
I was gonna say, like, I remember watching that fight for the first time and going, I don't give a shit what Naruto or Sasuke or Itachi or anybody is doing. All I want to know is what's going on with the Rock Lee fight.
Yep.
So I wanna bring up the exact inverse of Slime Sakai, which we talked about a little bit before the podcast, which is ReZero, where you don't have a cast of bad characters on the side. You actually have really interesting and good characters. But the problem is that the story focuses so much on the sole protagonist that instead of, in Slime Sakai's case, Rimuru carries the show and brings everybody along with them, but in ReZero, Subaru acts as an anchor and kind of drags everybody back because they're unable to progress without him.
Now, I want to point out that is partially because of the character's mechanic.
Yes.
Right,
but at the same time,
I'm just wanted to point out for anybody who goes, well, that's just because Subaru's whole thing is done. I'm like, sure, everybody gets that. That's an unspoken like point, which is the fact that the story literally cannot progress if Subaru does not stay alive long enough for it to progress.
Yeah,
but
that's how it works.
But at the same time, like, if Subaru wasn't there,
that world would carry on and. Like, those, like, you could take Subaru out of that story, and you could watch the story as it progressed. And for most of it, very little, like, especially in season 1, very little would change from what the first path he takes is.
Yep.
Like,
it's very interesting.
Would still attack. Like, Rosewall's Manor would still fall. Arlem Village would fall. The White Whale would still be rampaging, and the princess selection would still go on.
Yep.
Like,
it's not like the things would, like, you know, necessarily go the way that we would want them to either.
No,
you know,
nothing goes the way you want it to in ReZero.
You're right. But, like, you know, to take the idea of that, like, if you removed a character, like, the world would continue living on. You know, we know this from the Tower of God webtoon, right? We don't get to see it insofar as so much as in the anime, but in the webtoon, like, just shit goes on.
Yeah, well,
like, character dies, shit goes on. Other character dies, shit goes on.
The webtoon's such a great example. Like, Tower of God webtoon is a good example of all these extra characters that have their own stories and their own world that just keeps progressing. When season 1 ends, you get the epilogue of season 1 and season 2 starts, and you immediately follow characters that you have never seen before.
Yep.
The main character for the first 28 episodes is 28. Wang Nan.
Is an entirely new character that we have.
Capitalize the G in God and Wagner.
Wang Nan.
Yeah, like
the great character. Like, but they build this entire other team. You don't even see Kun and Anak and Dorsey until 100 or something episodes into season 2 because they're good characters, but their story is happening somewhere else, and you're following a different story at this point in time. And they intersect and they move on, and all of these characters do their own things, and it's always interesting.
And the best part, I think, about that too is midway through that, like, beginning of that, because God, season 2 in the webtoon is so fucking long. It's great,
long,
but it's
like
long.
400 episodes.
But you get, like, part of the way through that, and you're like, holy shit, where's Bam? Or, like, midway through, you're like, holy shit, where's Kun? Like, wait, I haven't seen Dorsey in, like, since season 1.
It's like, I haven't seen these characters in 50 episodes.
And you want to see them. Like, and that's
having this realization that you didn't notice they were missing because everything else is so fulfilling.
It reminds me so much of of like small little moments in Hunter x Hunter where you're like, I wonder what Hisoka's doing. Mostly because Hisoka's bothered you all the way up until like midway through the show, and then like Hisoka just disappears for like a whole arc. And then he shows up again, and you're like, oh, that's what he was doing.
Well, and then like even in the Chimera Ant arc, you're sitting there watching it, and they just cut away from the main characters like, hey, what's the Phantom Troop doing right now? And it's like, well, that's a cool side story, and I'm very happy for it. Like, these are the villains from another arc, and they're just brought back in randomly. And it's like, yeah, because the world keeps moving. Yep. I guess that's probably like the main thread here, is that it's all of these examples that are good examples have a world that keeps moving without the main character in it.
I was going to say, and there's another one that I really want to talk about, and it's My Hero. And for those of you that are anime only, this is going to be lightly spoilerific. I'm going to try and keep it like as vague as possible, but I want to talk about this because My Hero for the first season in the anime is very much, it's Deku. It's the Deku show. It's Deku and friends. And then season 2, you kind of start to see that supporting cast grow and really come into their own. And in season 3, you really start to see that. And in season 4, you start to get the hero internship arcs where you start to follow those characters. And it's like, well, okay, who gives a shit what Deku is doing with Lemillion and Night Eye? But
you're like, give me Red Riot and Kirishima being a badass.
Yeah, like give me Fat Gum and Red Riot. Give me Ochako and
give me Dragon Knight and Froppy with and yep.
Yeah, and so in what will be season 5 and season 6, you really start to branch away from Deku, and you get into this arc about Tomura Shigaraki, and like seeing him and what's going on with him, and you'll spend like 10 chapters in the manga focusing on Shigaraki and the Doctor and the Nomu and what's going on with the League of Villains and a new character that I won't talk about, but he's kind of a dickhead and what he's got going on. And then you cut back to the heroes and the students, and you're like, all right, so that's what they've been doing for the last like 25 chapters. And you get a quick recap, and then you watch those stories intersect, and then you get into this next fight.
You know what I'm noticing? Here, like shows and webtoon and all of these things that have good supporting cast also do really good time skips.
That's very true. And I was going to say,
the reason I bring this up because I wanted to try to take this back, and like we were going to argue about Fairy Tail and good and bad in the same category, which is some of the best parts of Fairy Tail are just before and after that time skip where you have the supporting cast that like showcases all of its strengths and are like, where did Fairy Tail go? And then like you show up and Sting and Rogue and Sabretooth are a thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, and you meet these characters and now you want to figure out what's going on with Sabretooth, what's going on and why did they do it with Fairy Tail? Where's Makarov? Like, and all of these different things, and you suddenly actually have to deal with the fact that this world is actually massive. You know,
I think that even just wraps back to the point that I made, which is the world can go on without the characters in it.
Yep.
It's as long as you have something that's living and breathing. And a lot of the times there is the story exists and the world exists just as a tool to tell that story. But there's a lot of the times, and this will even go, I'm gonna pull out of anime for a moment, all right? We're gonna go back to Lord of the Rings, which is a world that existed and that existed for thousands of years before Lord of the Rings takes place and exists for thousands of years afterwards. And there's stories and history that takes place in this world. And because of that, you can tell all of these stories from any point of view, from any perspective, and you can pull from everywhere because everything is real.
Do you know how many people like idolize Tom Bobaldi as a character from Lord of the Rings? No, he's only available in the Silmarillion. That's it. That's the only place he's ever talked. No, I take that back. One other place. Like, Tom Bobaldi has his own story, and there's like thousands of Lord of the Rings fans who only follow Tom Bobaldi's story because they love him the most, and Lord of the Rings doesn't matter to them. So, and to that point, right? Like, you can jump into the world of Attack on Titan and not give two shits about Eren and go follow Levi.
Well, I mean, that's what I do when I watch Attack on Titan because Levi is my husbando.
I mean, yes, because Levi's incredible, but continue.
But I wanted to bring that back to the following other characters and only giving a shit about them. In this current arc of My Hero, in the manga, you see Deku once every, 8 chapters.
Yeah.
Actually. I think since this fight, and I'm using air quotes, has started, I have seen Deku in 4 chapters. I have seen more Bakugo. I have seen a hell of a lot more Kirishima, Froppy, Shoji, Sato, Sero, Ochako, more of the pro heroes, a hell of a lot of Endeavor.
I love Endeavor. I hate him, but I love him.
I have a love-hate relationship with Endeavor.
Absolutely. Anyway,
and
there's all these parts where you have characters that you suddenly, for almost, and I wouldn't say no reason, but you fall in love with certain characters that are outside the main character, and it's not like you fall in love with what they do for the main character, you fall in love with them as a character. Yeah, right? And this is why fairy tales on both ends of the spectrum, right? Because you have moments where you're like, I am in love with Gajiel and the rest of the Dragon Slayers as they are as characters. Sting, Rogue, all of them. And you're like, they're just great characters. And then all of a sudden, you're kind of like, but now that we're not focused on the Dragon Slayers at all and Natsu's not there, what's happening?
Yeah, and I think that's really prevalent time skip at Tenro.
Yeah.
Because it's basically the Natsu, Lucy, and Happy show for the entire...
With a side of gray.
With a side of gray. And occasionally Gajiel or Lucy or Juvia. But, it is almost defiantly the Natsu, Lucy, and Happy show. And that's not a bad thing. I think...
Yeah.
I think it's
for example, season 1 of Attack on Titan is almost exclusively the Eren show.
And I think
in reality, you have Misaka coming in and doing things, but it is exclusively oh god, what's happening to Eren? So I think I want to make this point real quick before we keep going. Is a lot of really good stories that end up with good supporting cast establish their characters in that first season. They established their main character. We established Deku that first season. We established Eren that first season. We established Naruto, subsequently Sasuke, that next first season. We established, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Edward and Alphonse get established that first season. Tower of God, that whole prequel is literally bam. Bam, 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 bam. Rachel, bam, 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 bam. Right?
Sorry.
Sword Art Online.
I thought we were...
all season 1. Kirito, Hunter, Hunter. Gone. Killua, gone.
No, I'd say season 1 of Hunter x Hunter kind of splits between the 4 main characters, but then it splits them.
Yeah.
It does focus on Gon more because it's his show, but also it focuses on all 4 characters and their different reasonings.
And the more we talk about this, and this is something that I noticed as we started to talk about the really good examples, is shows that take the time in season 1 to develop the world and plant the seeds for the character growth for the supporting cast, and they develop a living world, and that's the important part, is it's a living world. Because you can do all the world building you want, but if it still focuses around the MC, you're never going to have a good enough supporting cast to pull the show forward without them. But if you establish a living world...
And again, we want to point out, that's not a bad thing. Slime Sky is exactly what you want out of it and does exactly what you want it to do.
Again, these are not
hallmarks of... Can I do my
bad...
JoJo's rant now?
I was going to say, these are not hallmarks of good or bad shows, but these are what make a good supporting cast, viable.
Well, quick point. This can also be made to talk about waifus. I just think about it.
What makes a good
if you don't build
waifu?
A living world, no, if you don't build a good living world, then you can never really get invested in a waifu because the waifu is just an attachment to the main character.
I hadn't thought about that, but I think that is a fair argument. I think a lot of people would disagree.
I don't-
Probably, absolutely. But I tend
entirely disagree
anyway,
with you.
You can go ahead and do your thing. That's going to be one of those things that like somebody's going to come at me 15 years from now and be like, "What do you mean you said the waifus aren't good unless they live in a living world?"
Yeah, because you don't like the waifus in Akame ga Kill. I wanted to bring up the point.
I mean, the only person I like in the only waifu I like in Akame ga Kill is L's death. So
I don't know why you added an L in there, but okay. Did
I say L's death? It's L's death. Continue.
I wanted to bring up like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a great example of doing both of doing it very, very well and having an entire part that is based around supporting characters and side characters. And it also has a bunch of parts that don't care about anything else at all. So like parts 1, 2, 3, and 5, which are currently out, all follow a single person or group of people going on a mission, and they will pat people on the head as they walk along and then leave them and never talk to them again. But part 4 takes place entirely in a small town. And every single episode that introduces a character, that character comes back around at some point.
Yep.
One of my favorite characters in all of JoJo's is Rohan, who is introduced in part 4 as a villain and then has redemption in the story. And then he becomes one of the main characters. And in the last few episodes where they do a multi-part, they do 2 4-part episodes back to back, and he is the main protagonist of one of those. And he was introduced in episode 17 of that part as a villain that was supposed to be like a one-off almost. And all of these characters keep coming back around, and at the end of it, you don't really follow Josuke at all because he's just one of the characters that's a part of it. You end up following the main villain and his son for the last like 4 episodes. And Josuke is just like a side character in it, which is really well written and really well done. And it's a completely different tone from the other parts, but it does this really good job of building a world and immersing you in it, and then making those characters persist in the world regardless of what's happening.
And I think a highlight for this is like having a character that when you look at who they link to in terms of story, in terms of other things, right? Like it doesn't just link to the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, let's go back to like My Hero, right? Like Todoroki links to Deku by virtue of their first interaction, right? Like, and then they have that moment in the big fight in the tournament arc, and it's one of my favorite moments. Like, whew, that fight, right? But by the end of that, like, you realize that Todoroki has a connection to Deku now as like somebody he can look at and empathize with, as well as like compete with, and then also on top of that, like be a friend with. And then you realize he has a connection to his dad. And then by that connection at some level now, in between his dad and Deku, he now has a connection indiscriminately to All Might. And then from that connection, like, you know, you connect to all the other pro heroes who now have expectation because it's, you know, Endeavor's son. And then you have the, you know, the connections to all the other classmates because he stops becoming as much of a loner trying to outdo and just stay away from everybody to not, you know, follow in his dad's footsteps. And so all of a sudden you have a web of character that, sure, originally when you meet the character stems from a connection with Deku. But by the time you get to season 3, season 4, you're like, okay, Todoroki interacts really, really well with, totally forgot Bird, Dark Shadow's name, starts with a T.
Tsukiyomi,
like he really like has camaraderie with Tsukiyomi and that group in Kirishima and those guys. You know, for example, Bakugo has, you know, chemistry and connection with Kirishima and who's the other?
Kaminari.
I was forgetting Lightning Boy. I was like Lightning, you know? And so you have all these moments where these characters like find their little niches and you see where that web is of their influence and their friendships, and you can like interact with them on an individual level. You know, mm-hmm. Like if you interact with Deku, you're no longer interacting with the main cast as a whole. You're interacting with Deku, probably All Might, and probably, you know, Uraraka. You know?
Yeah.
Like if you interact with Todoroki, you're interacting with Todoroki. I just totally forgot his name again. You're going to kill me.
Tsukiyomi.
Endeavor, Tsukiyomi, and Endeavor, right? You know? with a sideline of his siblings and mom. You know, like you have all these moments where you figure out all of these characters, who they're linked to, and you can kind of like get an idea of where they fit in the world as puzzle pieces and what those puzzle pieces touch. You know, as opposed to, let's go back to some bad examples again. In the middle of Log Horizon.
Yeah, this is one that always makes me mad.
Go ahead. You just you needed.
So I love Log Horizon. I think it is a very fun show. It is a great realistic look. I'd say realistic but like it's they get transferred into a video game and they start to look at the mechanics of the world and how it's working and how the world is changing around them. And they took a much more grounded approach to it as opposed to Sword Art, where it's like, let's beat the game. Obviously, they have less information, but they do a lot of trial and error, and it's really interesting. And the entire first season does a great job of having good main characters and good side characters and telling different stories. But the problem with the second season is that they decide to have a story arc that focuses entirely around the kids that were stuck inside the game. And the problem is that the kids share one character trait, and it's we don't know what's going on and we're stupid. There is nothing else that goes on with them. They follow this entire quest, and the entire time they're like, we don't understand, we need an adult's help. No, we'll do it ourselves. And that's the entire thing. It feels like a kid's show, and it doesn't feel good to watch, and it's not entertaining. And every single time it cut to the kids doing their quest for the bags of holding, I immediately wanted it to cut back to everybody else. Because you had they did it at the worst possible time in the story too, where you had the two opposite ends of the spectrum. These kids doing the most beginner quest possible so that they could get a basic item that they would need to succeed in the game, versus the end game players trying to do a raid for the first time in this actual world while suffering real life consequences. Like, it doesn't feel good to watch, and it feels empty when you're watching it. Well, and there's no real character growth.
And part of that, I think, is not a point about like a supporting cast issue, right? Like, I think that's kind of a stakes issue in regards to like cast, you know, like,
absolutely.
Like we have a moment where like our supporting cast that we've grown to love and care about all of a sudden is facing, like, in all honesty, like memory loss trials where like you just die and you're like, shit, I'm starting to forget all these things, you know? Yeah. And all the characters that are involved in this raid know about it. And they're like, it's this whole point of like, these stakes are, we can't die. Like, we can die, sure, but like, we can't die, you know? And then you have these kids going on this quest and they're like, whoop-de-doo, oops, I guess if we don't get this bag of holding, it's going to be real rough. Oh no, you know, and like the stakes don't match the cast.
And it doesn't help that also the entire first season, when they're building these characters, they built out all of the main adult characters, the ones that go on the raid, the ones that go try to figure out the world, the ones that try to make deals with the NPCs. The kids are in the background, and they're kids. They don't do anything. They run around, they play, they get in trouble, they get captured, and they are the damsels in distress. They don't have any other character points other than we're in trouble and we need help. And when you try to just take that and say, now we're going to make these stronger characters, and you just throw them on a quest and nothing happens, it's not fun to watch. It's not entertaining. And you're right. It does absolutely suffer because of a lack of stakes. There's no stakes for the kids' quest. It's you either get a bag or you don't.
And I think to like bring this back to like what makes a good supporting cast is like the supporting cast stakes don't necessarily have to match the main character stakes.
No, not at all.
But they like, have to pace with.
For example, in Sword Art Mother's Rosario.
Yes.
It is one of the lowest stakes possible. Like, the characters are like, we just want our names to be saved in the game forever because we're going to die. That's it. It's we want to be immortalized in the game. There in SAO Season 1, it's people are dying in the game. In SAO Season 2, it's my girlfriend is captured and being forced into a marriage. In Season 3, it's people are dying in a game. And then in Alicization, it's people are, like, he is dying and stuck, and then now there's even higher stakes in War for the Underworld.
Like, I mean, it was souls are dying and I am stuck.
Yeah, souls are dying and I am stuck. But so, like, there's almost every other arc in Sword Art has higher stakes than Mother's Rosario. The only other one being Excalibur, which is just like a side story that sucks. But every other story has higher stakes. And but the stakes aren't what make the story. It's the characters. Like Yuki is a good character and she pulls at your heartstrings and she tells a good story. And that matters. And when you can have that in connection or without the main character, then you can have a good supporting cast telling supporting stories.
Like, again, let's jump back to Hunter x Hunter real quick. The end of Hunter x Hunter, like for that whole second to last arc, is Killua. It's Killua and his sister dealing with his family. That's it. Gon is in a bed, like dead.
Pretty
for
much,
all intents and purposes. Gon is sitting in a bed, dead as all can be, because he broke his conditions and like was like, cool, my condition is I'm dying. He's like, I don't care. And like you go this whole last arc with Killua and his sister dealing with Illumi and his parents being like, I'm defying the family, I'm doing all of these things, I'm gonna beat my brother into submission because otherwise like he's gonna take my sister and it's gonna be real bad. Like, and you have this whole arc where Gon is nothing to do with it except for the fact that the underlying motivation is kind of let's save Gon, but like,
but he isn't. But Gon isn't an act
exactly. So
he's just there.
Yeah.
And then even then, the other storyline that's happening is a goddamn election. It's politics. And if you know anything about me, you know that I love stupid politics and shows. It's very entertaining to me. So I actually really enjoyed the Hunter Association election. It's very fun. And none of those characters, I want to point this out, none of those characters are introduced until that point in time except for Jing. And he is only introduced passively in the side as Gon's dad. And then even at that point, all of the other 11 characters are introduced, have very, very strong character designs, feelings, and motivations, and they follow the story through.
Yep.
And the only connection that they have to anybody in the main cast is Leorio, who has been absent for the last 60 episodes because, as much as I love him, he's pretty worthless in the grand scheme of things as a character.
Oh, he's a potato.
Oh, yeah, and that's not even a bad thing necessarily because his goal isn't to be worthwhile in the actual Hunter Association or to be a hunter. It's to be a doctor and he just wanted money for it. So even then it's not betraying his character and it's doing his character a favor.
Yep.
So
like all of these things and all of that is our, how do you end a discussion like that? You know? Like,
you need to you end the discussion by saying something along the lines of guys. Tim's raising his hand.
I got it. Guys, thank you so much for listening to that half of the podcast. We're gonna go take a quick break and listen to an ad from our sponsors.
That works. Same. This section's also going to be on the Patreon, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
If you guys didn't know, sponsors are King's Coast Coffee. There's recently came out with their Summer Spells blend. That's going to only be available for the rest of the summer, so it'll be leaving pretty soon here shortly.
And the rum.
The rum's gone. It's sold out. Okay, it's sold out within 24 hours. My cousin tried to go get some last evening, and he was like, "Oh, sold out."
I was gonna buy 3 bags for the house, because we just got a French press at the house. 2,
ooh,
and I have a brand new coffee grinder, so I was gonna have it all spicy, and then I realized I missed my window like the jackass that I am.
I literally woke up at like 9 a.m., like dead tired, ordered a bag of coffee, and then went back to sleep.
Yeah, there was like a whole bunch of other shows that we could have talked about too. I wanted to touch on Dr. Stone, but like then you guys were like already ready to end the discussion, and I was like, all right, never mind.
I could have gone. I had rants for everything.
I could have said something about
just so you know, I am taking a quick second to ask Kevin because he just messaged me and said he may need to talk to me real quick for tomorrow for roleplay stuff. I may need to take like a 15-minute break to talk with Kevin and resume episode in a minute. But
that's okay. I would probably
we'll just leave it recording and do things. This is extra. Wait. I got this extra content.
Well, the problem is like, if I left to talk to Kevin, this
Oh, true.
I just phone call him. It'll be fine. Anyway, fun random content while I'm waiting for an answer.
I'm reading Twitter.
Okay. So I wanna talk fun random anime thing about this season. I guess we're gonna talk about the God of Highschool pacing and stuff.
Hey, you know what we can talk about right now? Ghost of Tsushima.
True.
Honestly, yes. Holy smokes, it's pretty. It bothers me.
Have you played it yet?
No, I don't have it. I'm upset.
There are two guys in the house with PS4s. I might just buy myself a copy and see if I can borrow their PS4 for a week to do it, and just fucking crush that game on stream. Just absolutely.
Dude, it's worth platinuming. Hey, make sure that you get it when the update comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, the multiplayer update?
Yeah, they're adding 2-player story missions, 4-player survival, and a raid. Like,
yeah, I saw. I'm just
so for our Patreon content, peeps, if you guys want to see us play video games, like actually play video games,
our Twitch channels.
I'm not streaming as much right now, so if you really want to see streams, catch Comfy at twitch.tv/Comfimus every single day. Almost. Most days.
Pretty much every day. If I stream tonight, it's going to be late, obviously, because we're recording this pretty late. And I probably will not be doing so tomorrow because I'm getting a needle stuck in my arm and infused for like half an hour, and that's going to probably knock me out for the day. So
yeah, and
that's exhausting.
I'll probably stream tomorrow. Like once
I've been wanting to stream more. I just like
maybe I'll force some people to get on TTT and test some things.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can do some makeshift games.
Yeah, I'm like also in the mood to like sit down and like work on getting the NDI set up for the 2 PCs so that I don't have to use my Elgato, because the Elgato. Oh,
guys, technology is rough.
Technology is so rough.
It has this fucking issue, and it clicks. Like it clicks in the monitoring, it clicks on stream, and it angers me because
it doesn't click in your head when you're looking for a solution.
No, I have searched their support forums, I have searched Reddit, I have searched YouTube videos. Nobody has a fucking fix for it because it's a hardware issue.
I just realized my plate is sitting in direct view of my camera.
Wah. Do your goddamn dishes.
Well, that's from lunch this afternoon. I had dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets.
I want to point out the dinosaur shape does make them taste better.
That's very true. It's kind of like the Oreos that I have. Double stuff Oreos taste objectively better than single stuff Oreos.
Can confirm.
And I have caramel coconut ones that I have not opened yet. And
you know what's surprisingly good?
What?
Birthday cake Oreos.
Birthday cake Oreos slap, and no one can tell me different.
They are so good.
Dude, red velvet Oreos, top tier. Birthday cake Oreos, top tier. Chocolate peanut butter pie Oreos, godsend, especially if you're intoxicated.
Mint Oreos, actually pretty good.
Yeah, we're doing a D&D session last night, and we went to the lake house that one of my brothers owns, and on the way back, his mom made homemade strawberry jalapeno jam. So I picked up cream cheese and club crackers to slap that shit on, and we were walking through the aisles, and I saw these Oreos, and I was like, oh, I need to get messed up and eat Oreos tonight during D&D.
So you ready for me to be the worst person ever?
Yes.
I prefer golden Oreos to normal Oreos.
That is a hot ass take. Holy shit.
That's a really hot take.
Could you imagine if they? I kind of actually.
I'm so glad that right there. Only that right there. Patreon and no one's gonna see this.
That right there needs to like go on your private Twitter, if you have one.
I prefer golden Oreos.
Okay, but to be fair, golden Oreos.
No, that's going on my private Twitter tonight, which is someone just told me they prefer golden Oreos over regular Oreos, and I don't know how to feel.
Listen.
But at the same time, I think if Golden Oreos had a double stuff version.
They do.
I have literally never seen these before in any
do.
store I've ever been
That's
in.
literally what I buy. I buy double stuffed golden Oreos.
Okay.
They also have mega stuffed golden Oreos and golden Oreo thins.
Okay.
Yes, you should check your Walmart next time you go, and or check Amazon.
Bro.
Okay, Tim, I have not been responded to, so we're kicking back in.
Okay.
Guys, Patreon, thank you so much for letting us derp around. We love you. Golden double stuffed Oreos are actually really good. They may not be my favorite, but like they're really good. Anyway, that's my point for tonight. Anyway, guys, welcome back to Studio Blank, episode 8. I said that right. It's episode 8.
Yes, you did count correctly. I'm very proud of you.
I can count, guys.
The real question is he going to end the podcast without letting me do my bit at the end?
I feel like I have to now just because it's a point, and you
then
made
I
that
get
point.
to make a meme about it.
It's a bit now at this point.
Okay, guys,
He may say it's intentional.
we're talking the season's summer lineup.
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna
are.
start off right off real fucking hot with God of High School.
Alrighty. This week's episode
I'm
was...
liking it a lot more. The show's getting me. I'm liking it more.
It's still so rushed that I'm upset. Okay.
He was my dad.
But yeah.
Q is dad. O is step on me.
Q is the person that you hit with the "oh no, he's hot" meme, because holy fuck, when you see him just go off with his Joker Chariok, you're like, oh please.
The dude just throws cards and pulls out a scythe.
I'm gonna make this point for you, Comfy.
Mm-hmm.
You literally, he is not even in the top 5. He doesn't make it to the 6 until like 3/4 of the way through current webtoon. Like, man's literally takes him like 20 years to get to the level of the 6. Like,
listen, power level, you can be the strongest man in the room, but if you don't have a good like character, then I'm not about it.
but the rest of the 6 do.
Like, yo.
Yeah,
like the rest of the 6 do. You haven't met the 6.
I have not met them. I've met the 6. I haven't met the 6.
You've met Mubong, who is Mujang.
Mujin, yeah.
Mujin. You've met Mujin, who's 1.
You've
sort of met the other one. They really skipped over a whole section of his. They skipped over a whole section of his character, which was really annoying.
Reading it when the season's over.
Really annoying. This is why I say they keep rushing it, because like when Bam does the thing,
Bam.
I said Bam.
Wow.
Jin.
When Mori does the.
I am such in a Tower of God when he does the acupuncture stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole context behind it, and it's infinitely funnier when you know the context.
As
like
most things are.
And so you get this whole point, and like he does the thing, and it's great. But like Bong is literally nuts.
Bong Chim-na is.
He is Bong. Like him and Mori's grandfather were rivals, and like tried to continually beat the ever-loving shit out of each other.
Really?
Yes.
Like that's how like you saw how strong Taijin is, right? Like you've seen Bong is like that strong. Not quite, but like that kind of strong.
It's like the difference between Naruto and Sasuke at the start of that series, where it's like Sasuke is like just a little bit stronger than Naruto, and it's just like always like that. Like if Bong Chim-na like claws his way ahead, Taijin's like, oh, while you were doing that, I got just a little bit farther.
Yeah, basically.
Like just a
wee bit.
Smidge.
Anyway, guys, you'll see that later on. Like you kind of catch that at the end of this week's episode with Taijin missing his arm, but
I do like I did say this before to you guys when I was watching it. I'm a big fan of 38-year-old high schooler.
Oh,
Pum Kwang.
He is such a good boy. It's introduced. He's like, he's a 38-year-old high schooler. He's like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird. And then it cuts to him at a construction site, and he's like, yeah, I'm studying because I want to better myself because I dropped out and I want to be the best me that I can be, and I don't want to give up on myself. And I was like, this is my new favorite character. Like,
this
holy
is who
crap,
I should aspire to be.
What a good character.
He's just a great character. Like and for all of you out there who are worried about their relationship and the fact that she got all so cutesy and blushy with him, just read the webtoon. I'm not spoiling anything. But read the webtoon.
I'm not spoiling anything. He says after spoiling me.
I mean, that's because you were giving me issues about something else that's going on in the community that is also on Twitter. You guys don't need to know about that. But you were just giving me issues, so I had to put you in your place.
No,
I didn't.
No, we had the conversation first.
No, I mean, we had the conversation first because I knew the thing was going on, and thus it would have been bad if I did not expound.
Okay, whatever. I'm a big fan of that boy. He's a good boy.
He's a good boy. Love boy.
Strong boy.
She's
in the fight, boy.
Cute. She cute too.
Mm-hmm.
And his little bud who he brings along, who also is a fighter bud who beats Mori because Mori's a dumbass.
I think that was like
himself in the butt.
I think that was one of the best like Mori character moments that they could give in season 1. Purely from an aspect of like you just watch him fuck up so royally, like just so bad that someone that had no right of even touching him clobbers him into submission.
He's like, I should have used the taekwondo, and you're like, yes, you should have.
You tried to get fancy. You took a calculated risk, but fuck, are you bad at math?
Basically, that sums it up. That sums up this whole episode, except for the fact that, you know, Daewoo beats
living hell
Poem like into submission because Daewoo has found his friends, and he's like, I refuse to give up and lose my friends now, so I'm gonna beat you. And it's really heartwarming and cute, and that Azure Dragon is super like well animated, and it's just so pretty. It's so very pretty. The brushstrokes get me like the way they're using brushstrokes in this show makes me so happy. Like whether it be for like the powers, whether it be, I'm really interested to see him do the thing that he showed here with the thing, but when he does it with the thing later with the thing, and anybody who's read the webtoon does not understand what I just said.
That was so vague that I have no idea who the hell you're talking about.
Well,
what the fuck ability they're using,
so
you
know when
they're using it against.
You remember when Mori does the kick of the blue dragon, except he does it with the thing that he did with the thing?
Yeah. Okay, see,
that's what I'm getting at.
For the Patreon supporters that are watching, you'll kind of get to see what Paul's doing, and like, I mean,
if you've I'm gonna do it on screen. So if you want to watch the Patreon, you know, it's $5. You can see me do this and know exactly what I mean.
Yes.
If you've read the webtoon, you'll know. If you haven't, you'll find out. What Jin just does things and takes every like.
Mori finds a way to take everything to like from 0.
Mori
to
takes
100.
everything from 0 to Goku.
Nah, I don't think that's fair. Mori's kind of like 0 to 100 in like 1.1, and then 100 to 1 million in the other like 2.2 seconds that are missing. Whereas Goku is just 0 to 1 million at the snap
all
of
the time.
Yeah, like Goku just has no like willingness to like inhibit himself at all ever.
This week we got those fights. We got the commissioner's fight, and I know Comfy said he's like, I love Q, but I just have a thing for dragons, white hair, and fire, and I don't know what else to tell you. Especially because, like,
Paul's just asking for O to step on him. That's really what it is.
Can you blame me when she goes, hold on, let me one up your little pet with the pet of my own, and that pet just happens to be a giant fucking dragon.
Oh,
and,
no, I'm not
arguing. O's like, make sure to chew, and you're just like, what? Like, there's a level of savagery that just you can't, like, it's just impossible. You just sit there and you're like, okay, that's broken.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with that, but it's like watching Elixir and Saturn, and you're just like, all right, and then you see the cross, and it's like, all right, it's a laser gun, and then you see the bears come out, and you're
teddy
like,
bears, and
fuck yeah, and you just
the teddy bears just make the whole thing.
And for those that are only watching the anime and not reading the webtoon, they ripped those like lines straight out from her, like the go fuck yourself or I'm gonna rip your balls off and shove them up your ass. Those are straight out of the webtoon. That's the accurate English translation.
Side
of the Korean
note,
used.
for those of you who could not tell, O is a dude. In case you didn't know.
Yes.
I would assume so, because they were saying they were going to rip off his balls.
Yes.
And yeah, but
just you didn't see that given the voice and the dragon.
Hey, you know,
until then
there are
it's fine.
Wonderful women out there with masculine voices.
And dragons can be girls too, Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
I don't know why why'd you bring the dragon into this?
You know what?
I didn't bring the dragon into this.
White hair has a dragon. Daenerys Targaryen, anyone?
No.
Oh, you literally just brought up the dragon.
No, I was talking about O.
Yeah.
Yes.
O is not the dragon.
No, the dragon
O
is
has a dragon, and you said, could you not tell that O is a dude by the dragon?
Did I say by the dragon?
Yes, you did.
That's why I was like, white, and you had just talked about white hair has a dragon.
I have an incredible
memory.
Freudian slips are a thing. It's not by the dragon.
It's by the comment about O's balls.
Yes. That's what I was.
Man. I'm losing it. I'm gonna lose it.
I can't. I'm sorry. I blipped.
Paul can words good.
Paul can word good. Very proud.
I think I know word. Anyway,
speak good.
That fight was just so good. I can't get over the fact that Dragon comes down and is like, here, take one of my teeth. It's fire.
Dude, Chang-Shik
it makes like a flaming bow staff, which I love.
Dude,
bow staffs.
The bow staff was incredible. Oh, it was like flop and then smack and all while Excelion was sitting here screaming profanity and like, go. Did I say Excelion too? I can't English tonight.
All right. So we're just taking away Paul's English card for the night.
Bye, guys. I'll be back in a minute. I can't English. Getting up.
Man, you know what? He should probably try to rent a dictionary or something.
Oh, that was actually a beautiful transition. I loved that. Thank you. So rent a girlfriend.
Yeah. So I'm waiting until he puts his headphones back on. So rent a girlfriend this week.
Okay. Kazu,
why
can't you be?
We have been introduced to the next waifu.
Yes. Oh, what was her name? Ruka. Oh God.
Who is almost 100% a rental girlfriend.
She's 100% a rental girlfriend. She is a rental girlfriend.
It's not even a question. She absolutely is. Because have you seen his friend? He's uglier than Kazuya.
Yes.
I mean, Kazuya really isn't that ugly though. But he's just like he's like boy next door. You know?
No, he's got protagonist syndrome where he's aggressively handsome but has no good character qualities. And so because of that, the show plays it off as he's ugly, but he actually looks fine.
I was gonna say I was just gonna describe him as aggressively average.
That works.
So that he's easy to project onto.
He's boy next door. Like I said, boy next door syndrome.
Again, aggressively average.
Now,
protagonist syndrome.
Now, I want to say this. Chizuru is still best girl.
Absolutely.
Of course.
100%.
But Ruka is fucking cute.
Yes. I
can't get over the bow.
However,
very nice bow.
It's a very cute bow.
Chizuru was like, yeah, you can sleep here. And then listen to his adorable little rant, and it was super cute. She was like, well, I guess. And it was
Yeah.
just like,
That was like one of the
If
better
you try
moments for him.
anything, I'll see you in court.
I think that moment between Kazuya and Chizuru was one of the best Kazuya moments of the season.
yeah,
Like you can actually
Absolutely.
see him trying to grow as a person, and he wants to be better. And it's again like the Poom Kwang thing, where it's like he just wants to better himself. And the problem with Kazuya is he doesn't know how to do it without Chizuru, but at least he's making an effort.
he's trying. I'll give him that. He's trying.
He's not that bad.
The date was hilarious.
The date was really, really funny.
I like that they kept coming back to, oh my god, this is the greatest planned date of all time.
Yeah, and I liked when they panned to the crowd of other people that were there to Boulder when Chizuru was on the wall. I was like, yeah, no, that's especially the guys that were there with their girlfriends and the angry girlfriend faces. I was like, oh my god, it's the meme. The meme has occurred.
I'll be honest, I've never seen that many people at a rock climbing gym. Unless it was like a party.
Fair.
That's a good point.
I don't know,
They
maybe
all just bring their girlfriends
to a
that
rock
day?
climbing gym twice a week. So
Yo, you know what? Maybe that rock climbing gym in
Maybe it's just popping.
whatever part of Japan is in, it's just popping the fuck off.
I don't know what to tell you. Now, I will say, his friend really knows how to make a date something for him to enjoy.
I credit him on his ability to plan properly.
I am upset that that's what his goal was for the date.
kind of creepy.
You know?
Weird.
All three of those are agreeable statements. But at least he is forward thinking, and hopefully he can apply it to other parts of his life.
And not just his dick.
That was
Very
so
accurate.
optimistic. That was so optimistic, Tim. I'm so proud of you.
Maybe he can actually afford like an orthodontist or something so he won't be a chipmunk for the rest of his life.
Oh, I'm so sorry
Why'd
for
you
anyone.
go there?
Oh, I'm
Why'd
so
you
sorry
go
for
there?
everyone that just heard me. I just spiked so hard. Holy shit.
Anyway, in
Why did I
other
go there?
news,
Because the character is skeezy. He doesn't deserve any respect, let's be honest.
That's very fair.
in other news about Rent a Girlfriend, Chizuru is reflecting on the fact that she actually likes him.
Yay!
You know the
And
next
now-
time we'll get a confession? Season 9.
Wait, what?
I'm memeing. That's
Oh.
just how rom-coms go, especially in anime.
Remember when
Domestic
Enos
Girlfriend
got
didn't
a
go that bad.
confession from a tsundere in like the first episode because of his pure Chad powers?
Honest
was
literally
great.
was like, I am. Honest was. Well, to be fair, you have to realize that she was also pretty convinced she was going to die in the next 48 hours. So,
Not at the time.
no.
No, that was like
That was like
place
a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
I mean, still, wouldn't you take the only chance that you
No.
had to confess and kiss the boy that you suddenly all of a sudden liked, who was also a ridiculous Chad?
No, I wouldn't. You know me. I have zero confidence.
I was gonna
You're
say
not wrong.
I would
I
probably
probably
take that
would
secret
have.
to my grave. Be like, you know what? He doesn't. He doesn't.
No, I'd be
even
like
see
on
me
my
as a
grave, like,
human
hey,
being."
there's something I need to tell you. What is it? It's not that important. I can tell you later.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I would do.
Give
And
him
that's
the
not a
proper
joke.
tsundere.
That's accurate.
Give
Oh
him
my
the proper
god.
tsundere treatment.
I'm just
it's
saying.
not like I like you or something. Dead.
It's not.
I just, I can't with you guys. Guys, Rent a Girlfriend, watch it. Chipmunk guy gets destroyed. It's hilarious. It's very obvious. He's renting a girlfriend as well. Chizuru's just better at hiding it.
Is she though?
Yes,
I
because the
don't-
only person who has seen through it is another rental girlfriend.
But she couldn't figure out the inverse, which is that Ruka's a rental girlfriend.
No, we just don't get her inside thoughts. We get Kazuya's inside thoughts. And since Kazuya figured it out, and Chizuru's trying not to be a bitch, she didn't say it.
I don't want to give Chizuru just that much credit yet.
I do.
Like,
she has firmly planted herself as best girl, and thus I will give her forward-facing credit.
To be fair, at this point, there is Mommy, who is just the worst.
Mommy is a Rachel.
There is Chizuru, who is the best girl, and then there's Ruka, who we've just gotten, and we don't even have enough to be yeah.
We haven't met yet.
It's kind of hard to have a spectrum of best girl in the show when you have the two extremes and then one that just kind of exists on the spectrum.
Yeah, it's like
without
we don't have enough knowledge to place her somewhere yet.
I think the scene we got with Kazuya, where they run into each other and she just hits him with that fat hentai. Top tier.
It's true.
Very much. You know what else is top tier?
ReZero.
I wasn't gonna say Subaru.
Not Subaru, but Ren
He's getting there. He's getting there.
ReZero.
Yeah.
Subaru is getting to be less garbage.
I mean,
he's
he
not
still
as
tried.
bad.
He still tried to death his way out of this one though. So he's,
Oh, okay. But to be fair, I think. Wait.
He did try everything up until that point, so I really am not I can't really give him that much sass. He literally tried everything else up until that point, and then gets saved because, I really don't know if he's gonna die now, and I'm really interested to see if he dies or not. It was a great cliffhanger.
Yeah, that was actually a well-placed cliffhanger.
I'm really interested. Like it has me riveted for Saturday. I'm like,
to be fair, for Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday?
Yeah.
I watch it on Saturdays though.
Oh, okay, I see.
Because I wait for all of my Saturday, like Wednesday through Saturday stuff to catch up because I watch the God of Highschool stuff early.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you get the moment where he's like murdered by Elsa. He goes back. He's like, all right, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna get there ahead of her. I'm gonna get everyone out of there. It's gonna be fine. And by the time he gets there and can sort of start to get that plan moving, JK, Elsa's there, and your plan got fucked. And
kills everybody.
Yeah. Sadly, it's not his fault. They genuinely try and
He tried. He really tried. And they tried.
Elsa is just an entire beast on her own. And without, I don't know, the Master Swordsman's grandson there to shit on her for the second time that the timeline would have.
That'd be real nice.
It would be really cool to have him there.
I'd really like that, actually.
That would be wonderful. That would be.
I miss him as a character,
I was just glad we got Elsa back.
I
have not read enough of the light novel. I kind of just got into the point where what season 2 would start to be so that I could decide whether or not Subaru was going to be shit again. So I didn't know Elsa was coming back. So when she came back, I was like, holy shit, she's back.
Backstreet's back. Come on.
It's all right.
Basically.
It's Backstreet's back. All right. Thank you, Paul. That's the actual lyric. Hit him with it. But
it's close enough. Everybody got the sentiment.
Fair enough. I will give you
Everyone got the cinnamon.
The cinnamon.
The cinnamon. Yeah.
Cinnamon.
I'm just
anemone.
I think part of my favorite part of ReZero at some level is watching Subaru redevelop his human interaction skills with different people and because in the beginning he treats a character a certain way and then he dies and he's like, shit,
fuck
that really wasn't the way to do that. That first interaction with Roswell that first time, he's like, oh, why would you? And then the second time he's like, okay, I get that. Let me just big brain this whole time, And he's like, Roswell, what about this? What about this? What about that? And Roswell's like, well, this and that. I'm beginning to think Roswell's catching on too.
I think Roswell has known for a long time.
Yeah, I just don't know to what extent Roswell knows about Subaru's power and existence.
I think Roswell knows a lot more than we give him credit for.
He always plays that card though.
Absolutely.
He's always
cards-
just kind of like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I do. Oh, by the way, here's a bunch of exposition that nobody knew about except for me and would have been really relevant to the situation, but nobody knows. I don't know.
Yeah, Roswell plays his cards so close to his chest. They're like through him, into his spine, out the back, 6 blocks down, around the corner, and at the coffee shop, drinking their own, special roast that they put together.
I just think it's really interesting that Roswell as a character, allows for
the shenaniganery that occurs.
No, I think it almost reminds me as if he's knows Subaru's power out of it, his own existence. Almost as if Roswell gives me the feeling that he's done what Subaru's done before.
He either has knowledge of exactly what Subaru's power is, or he has put it together based on his interactions and how Subaru articulates things. Especially when you get into the later meetings of a heavily repeated death section, the witch's cult one.
Yeah,
where it's a bunch of people died, and then he, returned by deaths, and then saves a bunch more people, and then returned by deaths, fails, returned by deaths, fails, returned by deaths, fails, figures out how to do it, and by the time he's figured out how to do it, he goes to Roswell and is like, bro, what the fuck? Why did you let this happen? You knew about the witch cult, why did you let this happen? And so many people
it's
could
just
have
a
died,
really interesting, it's I'm really interested to see the extent of Roswell's powers and the extent of his knowledge, because it all tells me that he knows far more and he is much stronger than he lets on.
Bro, he's touted as one of the strongest mages in the entire country.
Yeah, I know.
And
but
I feel like that's an understatement.
We don't have a correlation to what that is. You know what I mean? Because we have
definitely seen him show off his powers.
I mean,
or some of them at least.
Exactly. I'm like, are we talking wise man's grandchild level of blowing apart a mountain?
He has an Omnigate, bro. He can use any type of magic. He's already busted.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
That's a once in 1,000 years kind of thing, supposedly.
Anyway, I'm just really interested. I want to see what happens now that he's inside the library. Because, man's about to get some answers. And I want to be there when it happens.
Yeah. Beatrice saving him was a cliffhanger I was not prepared for.
I was not ready for that. I was ready for everything else. I was ready for death. I was ready for him to get out of it and figure out a way to beat her. I was ready for him to figure out a way to beat her and then die to her so that he could come back and then fix it all the second time. I was not ready for Beatrice to just open up the door of the library and be like, sup, bitch.
Just to give him the yoink.
Beatrice is just... Oh, she's great.
She's a character that I absolutely adore.
So, guys, thanks for listening. It's been episode 8, except I had to do it for that face. That face was perfect.
I know you did. I know what you were doing.
Tim was waiting so patiently. He was like, there
I know what he's doing. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I know what he's doing. I know what he wants.
Guys, it's time for your favorite part of every episode. I can't believe that's not a light novel title. That is a light novel title. That's not a light. Good Lord. English today.
I can't believe that's a light novel title.
My English. Go and take it away, Comfy.
All right. This week we're gonna go. We're gonna get a nice happy story. So, after being worked quite literally to death, corporate slave Rhoda Okami's dying wish is to be reborn as a well-loved pet of a rich family. When a compassionate goddess actually grants his wish, Rhoda commits himself to the lazy, carefree, all-you-can-nap lifestyle of a pampered pup, complete with a beautiful owner and all the delicious food he can eat. But as Rhoda grows, and grows, and grows, he realizes something is terribly wrong. With his enormous body, razor-sharp teeth, and fierce visage, it's painfully obvious that he was reincarnated not as a dog, but a giant wolf. And not just any wolf, the legendary Wolf King Fenrir. This week in Woof Woof Story, I told you to turn me into a pampered pooch, not Fenrir.
My entire existence up until the wolf part was, oh, look, it's Clifford.
Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking when I was reading this. The thing that killed me, though, is it's just called Woof Woof Story.
It's just Woof Woof Story.
Woof Woof Story.
I was literally just sitting here like, Clifford. Bigger and bigger. Clifford.
I thought you had.
Fenrir, the big wolf king.
I thought you were fucking memeing and about to hit us with like, literally, it's just Clifford, but you came up with a light novel title.
Like,
I thought it was. I thought it was great.
Tim,
What?
that timestamp needs to just be Clifford, and then time.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll grab
No,
that.
it needs to say light novel. It needs to say, I can't believe that's not a light. That's a light novel.
No, Clifford.
Oh man.
Clifford.
All right.
Oh, that was real good, guys. Thanks for listening to episode 8 of Studio Blank. As we mentioned earlier, you guys can now find us on Twitter at Studio Blank Pod and on Patreon at patreon.com/Studio Blank. Guys, you can find us all on the internet on our various places, respective places on our Twitter and Twitch. Comfy, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Comfimus, or on Twitch at Comfimus, or on Facebook Gaming at fb.gg/Comfimus, all spelled the same way. Hey Tim, where can people find you?
People can find me memeing on Twitter, and occasionally memeing on Twitch at Syndaxatrix, SYNDAXATRIX. And Paul, where do they find you?
Guys, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch. You can find me on Twitter at I_love_Mondays. Monday spelled MUNDAYS. And on Twitch at just I Love Mondays. And if you guys want to catch all the hot, spicy memes from our Twitter, make sure to thank Tim. Give him a little wink. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.